All right, y'all. So look, I never do this. And I said, you know what? I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I don't want people to feel like we're not telling y'all all y'all need to know. And especially for dancers, I'm very transparent. Of course, I've done courses and programs, and I talk about this all the time. I talk about residuals, and all of my students know how important it is for us as dancers, choreographers. I'm gonna tell y'all too. Ooh, y'all gonna be like, what? I ain't know. I'm not gonna gatekeep, but I'm gonna show you how this works. Okay, so I talk about residuals. If you're following Kiki Castings, you've definitely been seeing me talk about just getting into the residual space. Throughout the year, you can get different amounts, some small, some big. It all depends on what the project was. But the idea is that you do so many that it's just a consistent stream of money that comes in. And it's almost like the lotto. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to get this month, or, what I'm saying, this week, or, so your idea is that you want to try to get in television and film as often as possible. I don't care if it's for a day. I don't care if you're on set for a day, a week. Definitely more than that. You want to get on TV and film. All right. Hold on. Okay, so I couldn't finish in the car because it was getting dark, and I had to go get some stuff for Kennedy. So I'm at home now. I just got home, and basically what I want to kind of show, especially for dancers, just ways that you can actually create other streams of income outside of what you're doing. Yes, you're going to book the tours and the shows and the live shows and award shows and music videos and all that, but you have got to figure out how to place yourself into television and film in those in-between times. When you're not working, you need to be on somebody's set. So I just got home and I was like, you know what, I'm going to show you guys. So I started opening and I was like, no, let me actually show you guys. So the first two checks, anyway, this is $16. Okay, cool. $16. This is a check for $19.31. Okay, cool. So I didn't open up these because I wanted to show you, but you can get residual checks all year long. And they vary. Every check isn't going to be large amounts, and then every check isn't going to be small. These are decent size. What I'm saying, they ain't going to make or break you, but it can add up, right? Okay, so this one is this is Netflix. Okay, so this is Sweet Magnolias. Sweet Magnolias. I did an episode on there. I was a choreographer and I was on the show. So you can get two checks if you're a choreographer. You can actually put yourself in the scene and choreograph it. Okay. This one is it's $198.82. Okay. With tax, it's like $129. So, $130. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. They pay a bill. Pay a bill, right? All right, so this is another one. So literally, I got three at the same time in the mail. All right, so this one is this is the fourth one, and this is like in the last 2 days. So, okay, this is actually Stomp the Yard. This one is for $13.98. Small. So this is only for internet rentals, internet free for pay TV. So it tells you what the residual covers. So this one only recovered internet rentals, right? So that could include people on the planes or whatever. And remember, the longer you go, obviously, sometimes the smaller it is, depending on the time of year, what's happening. So the idea is that you do as many as possible consistently so that it's a continuation of residuals that are accumulating over time, right? We don't want it to be like, I did this 20 years and I ain't did nothing since then. No, I did this 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but I'm still doing projects in the in-between years, okay? And then this one is, okay, so this one is also Sweet Magnolias, but it's for $568, right? So $568. And this one is internet rental. Okay, so this helps when, everybody's on Netflix, right? And again, it's not like this is like a lot of money, but it does add up. So imagine getting like 10 checks, you know, in one quarter for various projects that you did, you know, throughout the year. That's the goal. The goal is to accumulate residuals, right? In order to do that, you have to get into TV and film. There's no way around it. You have to get on set. You have to get in these projects and on these productions, and you have to get in front of the camera. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about choreographers, because choreographers, you know, typically don't get residuals because of us not being on camera. That has changed. So in recent years, choreographers are able to get onto contracts. So meaning choreographers can actually sign a contract that is similar to what a dancer would sign, except theirs will be labeled differently. Sometimes it's labeled as stunt coordinator or stunt, supervisor or consultant. You know, sometimes they label them as that instead of choreographer to put you on contract so that you can get a residual check. So I've actually gotten residual checks as a choreographer for working on a movie that I was in it, but I was also the choreographer, but they paid me residuals as a stunt coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Coordinated scene, whatever you want to call it. It don't matter to me. But at the end of the day, you just want to get on as much television and as much films as possible, because you can get a bunch of these. And I'm going to actually show y'all something else. Watch. This is the actual SAG-AFTRA website. You can actually see what you're going to make, when you're going to get it. So you can see what the numbers are sometimes, literally what the numbers are. It tells you what's coming. And some of these jobs, I cannot even tell y'all how long ago I did them, where I was when I did them. Like, I could have been in LA, Atlanta, working as a dancer, but this is just from this year. And as you can see, some of them are really small, which I don't know why they be, whatever. But then some of them are, nice size amounts that are decent, of course. And, at the end of the day, it's money that belongs to you that you worked for. So if there's any way for me to be able to recoup time that I spent on set, all those hours, if I know that I'm going to get residual income later on, and one of those checks was for like choreography, a residual check for choreography. I plan on actually doing something a little bit more in depth about this, because I think it's so important for you guys to know how this works. There's so much information that I do want to share, because we are in that time of season where we're going into pilot season. We're going into a lot of shows finally are being greenlit, after all of the back and forth strikes. And so there's a time now to really jump in. And even if it's for a day, a week, a month, a couple of months, however long, getting on set is so important for everybody to do, especially if you're a dancer. I don't want you to just bank on being a dancer and getting dance jobs. When there's TV and film involved, there's residual, meaning I'm going to get this again later on. That's the goal. All right, so I ain't gatekeeping. I'm telling y'all and showing y'all with transparency how this works. Again, I have been in the business for 25 years. So I've been getting this yearly for the past 25 years. Enough said. So if you want to just like get started, just getting information, you can comment residuals, and I will send you the link to be able to get the 2-hour masterclass that I did. And I will be hosting something a little bit more in depth about this, because I feel like there's just, a lot of questions, but also just uncertainty of how it goes and how this works and what all this is. And if this is something that's foreign to you, you've never even heard of it, you're like, what is a residual? Like, what are you talking about, girl? All I've seen is people on TV and films, and I didn't know they was getting money. I didn't know they was getting paid again. Yes, you need to be getting the info. If you are a dancer, you have to get the information. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The dancing with artists is not enough. We got to get in TV and film. We got to get in commercials as well, just to create that other stream. I'm not saying you can't dance, but you definitely want to come home off a tour and you got some checks in the mail. Just saying. All right, comment residuals, and I'll send you the link.